Hello, greetings of peace. I'm Osai, and I just want to talk to you about my story in regards to weight, health, dieting, etc., and things that help me balance out my body and my mind over the years. So, pretty much most of my life I was overweight. You know what I'm saying? My, growing up, my guardians, you know what I'm saying? My parents, you know what I'm saying? They weren't very, health conscious, etc. So pretty much when I was a child, my eating was pretty disordered. To put this in perspective, by the time I was 12, I was about 5'6", 5'7", and I was already 190 pounds. So I was very overweight. My mother wasn't a bad woman or anything, but she didn't have a conscious awareness of these things. She, was a working woman. Her mind was mainly focused on her career and stuff at that time. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times I was eating fast food, stuff from a can, a lot of junk food. You know what I'm saying? A lot of takeout, stuff like that. So my health wasn't in the best condition. You know what I'm saying? I was born with a more sensitive and weaker constitution than normal. I would say, like, when I was 3, I almost died of an asthma attack. So I had bad allergies, bad breathing. I was physically not as strong as the other kids, not as fast as the other kids. To be honest with you, based on everything I see from myself from a child compared to the standard male walking around here since from young, I'd have to consider myself a survivor because I was born into this world with a very weak vitality. But I had always had an overactive mind, so you know what I'm saying. I could think, you know what I'm saying. So that was my saving grace. But anyways, you know what I'm saying. You know, over time I had a growth spurt, so I evened out a bit. But my health was still in poor condition. So when I was how old was I? I was 18 years old. Yes, I was 18 years old when I first made my dramatic change. You know what I'm saying? One of the big problems I had was that I was severely constipated. I would only go to the bathroom once a week. I had bloating, bad gas. I had a lot of issues. You know what I'm saying? So when I was 18, you know what I'm saying? I was watching a lot of videos I was trying to grow freeform dreadlocks at the time. So I seen a lot of videos surrounding veganism and raw veganism because a lot of those guys were health conscious, etc. But that's neither here nor there. So when I was 18, I read a book by a man named Tony Robbins, right? It was known as Unlimited Power. So in this book, it's more about high performance and how to be resourceful and get the desired outcomes that you want in your life. You know what I'm saying? And so this book had a chapter related to health. Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? The man was expounding in the book how the stuff you put in your body, shapes how you think. And for the most optimal performance, you need to put the most optimal things in your body. So these are some of the principles that I learned from this particular book. So pretty much, there are different food groups. You have your concentrated proteins, like your meats, your cheeses, certain types of nuts, your dairy products, milk, ice cream, stuff like that. You have your concentrated starches like rice, pasta, breads, certain kind of beans, legumes, that kind of stuff. You have your green vegetables, right? You have your starchy vegetables, right? Like carrots and stuff like that. Potatoes, stuff like potatoes is considered a starch. Anyways, you have your sweet fruits like your bananas, your dates, that kind of stuff. You have your sub-acid fruits like the apples, the peaches, the nectarines, the blueberries, the strawberries. Then you have your acid fruits such as pineapple, oranges, kiwi. You have fats and oils, butter, olive oil, canola oil, etc., and sweeteners like sugar, honey, etc. So pretty much anytime you eat something for each of the food group, a different digestive medium is released into your stomach for each particular food group. And pretty much each food group needs its own digestive medium for optimal digestion. And so the way we eat here in the modern world is that we mix a lot of stuff. Like you might eat rice and chicken together, or you might eat like you might have a plate of steak and eggs or something like that, and you might have grapes on the side or something like that. Pretty much the way we eat as modern people is a bit disordered, because when you combine these different groups, in one sitting, different digestive mediums get released, and oftentimes they don't combine. They cancel each other out, or they dilute each other out. You know what I'm saying? Which is why a lot of people have issues with acid reflux. They have bloating, they have gas, they have pretty much this stuff. Not only does it affect your digestion, but it also affects your organs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll explain. So pretty much, when you eat food groups that are not similar to, that don't have a compatible digestive medium, it putrefacts, meaning it rots. It rots inside your stomach. You know what I'm saying? You know this when you pass gas, right? And you have the odor. When you smell the odor from you passing gas, that's putrefaction in your stomach. If you ate in a way that was compatible with your body's digestion, when you pass gas, it would be odorless. Meaning, pretty much, if you ate something pretty much, that if what you ate was eaten in the appropriate manner with a proper combination for optimal digestion, is that when you pass gas, it will be odorless. That's how you know that you combine your food properly. So pretty much, with this, when I started eating in this way, and I'll explain. So pretty much, what I would do was, okay, before I even go to, I have to explain. Each food group also has its optimal digestive time. You know what I'm saying? There's different phases of digestion, and you can look that up on your own. But the first phase is the digestive phase. You know what I'm saying? From your esophagus into your large intestine, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty much, with fruits pass the first phase of digestion within an hour, if eaten alone. So melons is the fastest, 15 to 20 minutes of eating alone. Other fruits about an hour. Carbohydrates take about 2, maybe 3 hours to pass the first phase of digestion. You know what I'm saying? And they take the second most amount of energy to digest. So fruits take the least amount of energy. Carbohydrates take the second most energy. Proteins like your meats, cheeses, dairy, those are the hardest for your body to digest, and it doesn't pass the first phase of digestion until about 4 to 8 hours. So pretty much, the way I would eat was, I ate a standard American diet, but I had cut out all the cookies, the snacks, and all the junk before I went on this journey. So the way I did that is, like, the first 2 weeks, when I decided that I needed to get my health in order, I just ate steak and eggs for 2 weeks, for 2-3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to restrict my diet, but eat something filling, because I wanted to kick the junk food, but I know that I'd be having cravings. So steak and eggs was filling enough for me so that I could, just eat that and not think about anything else. And, they say that it takes about 3 weeks to develop a pattern. So for 3 weeks, I just ate the steak and eggs to develop a pattern of not eating junk, no sugary drinks, nothing, water. After that, I started adding other foods, and I'll explain. So I started eating fruits in the morning for breakfast. That's it. I wouldn't eat anything else, just fruits. My second meal of the day would be carbohydrates. My third meal of the day would be protein, because your body needs energy to do different things. If a lot of people, like, in the morning, they'll eat like bacon and eggs, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, those proteins, eating that early in the morning, other tasks that your body could be using to do other things in your life, whether that's related to your work or your family or recreation or whatever it is that you do in the morning, whether that's a weekday or weekend, goes towards your digestion. You know what I'm saying? Just you eating that alone with fruits, you know what I'm saying? It frees up energy for your body to do other things, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, fast forward 2 months of me eating this way, so the rules are like this. Carbohydrates and proteins should not be eaten together because the digestive mediums that they use cancel each other out. Fruits should not be combined with carbohydrates or proteins. Proteins should not be combined with fats because it slows down the process of digestion even more. Carbohydrates, with fats is so, but that's pretty much it. So fruits should be eaten alone. Carbohydrates and protein should never be combined in the same meal. That's a no-no. And if you're gonna eat proteins with another food group, it should be leafy green, like green vegetables, broccoli, lettuce, kale, etc., because the digestive medium for those for those vegetables is compatible with the stuff for proteins. It also helps speed up the digestion because it has high water content. And that's another thing. When you drink and eat in the same sitting, your liquid dilutes your digestive juices and makes it harder to digest and leads to putrefaction. So instead of drinking while you eat, it's better to eat like leafy greens, something with high water content, because it will quench your thirst and hydrate you and help with the digestion. So carbohydrates and proteins, best rule of thumb is to never combine them and to eat them with leafy greens. Leafy greens could be mixed with anything, even fruits. So that's what I did. So like I said, so within 2 months, you know what I'm saying, a few months, I was able to start going to the bathroom regularly, meaning anytime I would eat a meal, I would then be able to use the bathroom. But it was painful. I had hemorrhoids and all kind of bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it was painful at first, and opening up the channels for my intestines, you know what I'm saying, by eating in this manner, I also gained a lot of more mental energy and physical energy. You know what I'm saying? It was like I was born anew. I also was 215. The most I ever weighed was 230, but I was shorter. 215 at 6 feet is not so bad. This was when I was 18, but I had a little bit of a belly. But I was just trying to get healthy, not slimmer necessarily. So within 2 months, I was able to lose 50 pounds on accident. And, that was the start of my dieting journey. So to recap, what I did was known as trophology or food combining. And you can look up food combining charts on the internet. Now, there's no hard, how can I say, scientific case studies on this type of stuff. The way you know it works and the way you can prove it is through how your body changes and reacts. You do this for a couple of months. You try to eat something that, like breaded shrimp, like fried breaded shrimp, because the breading of the shrimp is a carbohydrate. You do this for a few months and your body adjusts to you not combining improper food groups. You might eat some fried shrimp with, that's breaded, you get acid reflux. You might try to take eat some pasta and have some some fettuccine alfredo, acid reflux instantly. You know what I'm saying? You might try to, eat some steak with some rice, acid reflux instantly. Because your body gets more sensitive. You know what I'm saying? When you begin to pass gas, you know what I'm saying? You won't smell an odor. You know what I'm saying? Even your stools, your feces, it won't smell the same. You know what I'm saying? It won't smell foul and putrid. It'll smell like what you ate. Like if you ate fruits, it'll smell like fruits. If you ate rice, it'll be like the rice, etc., etc. It won't be offensive. You know what I'm saying? So that is one of the things that helped me greatly. You know what I'm saying? Then I went on to more of a vegan style diet. I wanted to cut out the meat because of the long digestive time of the meat and the fact that, oftentimes, even if you do try to eat it, because we've been eating such a way for so long, our intestines are not completely healthy. So you know what I'm saying? There's a bit of disorder from all the years of the sodas, the chips, the cookies. So even you try, even if you're still trying to eat the meat, you know what I'm saying, in a way that's palatable to the digestion of your body, it can still have issues passing through because of all the prior years of the alcohol and everything that you did. So I wanted to cut that out because I wanted my body to heal. You know what I'm saying? And I became more sensitive to spirituality and the psychic and the paranormal by going on this journey. So I cut out the meats, and I became a hard vegan, for many years, for almost 10 years. The first 2 years I became what was known as a fruitarian, meaning 90% of the time I was just eating raw fruits from pretty much to cleanse my body. You know what I'm saying? For 2 years, it was like a hardcore reset, and I would do water fast too. So pretty much the whole goal of this was to, pretty much, how can I say, I don't want to get into the whole acid and alkaline thing, but pretty much the fruits make an alkaline medium for your body. When your body is more on the alkaline side of chemistry, that is when the healing and the detoxification happens. And then when you're eating more of the fruit, you know what I'm saying, your kidneys begin to function higher. Your kidneys is one of your primary, eliminatory organs. You know what I'm saying? All the bad stuff in your lymphatic system, and pretty much all the stuff that doesn't exit your body through defecation, it exits through your kidneys and through your urine. You know what I'm saying? So you open up your kidneys, you're able to get healthier faster, and the raw fruits will do that for you. So, you know what I'm saying? So the first 2 years after I, started the vegan, I was a raw vegan / fruitarian. Overall, my vegan journey was about 10 years now. Now today I still do, I eat, earlier this year I started eating meats again, sparingly, you know what I'm saying? Because the thing is this, the conditions of today's man are a bit different. After eating, being plant-based for so long, I started to feel a bit ungrounded. You know what I'm saying? So at times I'll have some chicken or some fish to more anchor me to this reality. How, that combined with my meditation practice, you could get on cloud nine. You lose touch with the day-to-day stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, become more grounded. How can I say? That's really all I have to say about no, actually, there's more. Here's the thing. I'm not trying to promote veganism or any kind of diet. I'm not a nutrition. This is not nutritional advice, et cetera, et cetera. But you really have to look into the products that you're putting in your body and in your mouth and the stuff you're drinking. You need to read these labels. If you go to the supermarket and you look at these labels and you look up the ingredients, many of them are carcinogenic and add to the disease of your body. Some of these things are heavy metals. Some of these things are pretty much, they're endocrine disruptors. They They pretty much, a lot of the ingredients in these products that we call food today degenerate your organs. That is really the cause of all these diseases and cancers, et cetera, is when your organs and your eliminatory channels are out of whack. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much my rule of thumb is that if you can't put it on your skin, if you can't digest it, it's not something you should put on your skin. like these Vaselines and these certain shampoos and stuff. A lot of this stuff has a lot of carcinogenic products in it. Even our shower has fluoride, which is a known neurotoxin, and then chloride and all other kind of stuff. It's like a gas chamber, but we live in a toxic world. But you should eat as simply as possible. You know what I'm saying? You should try to aim for as many real and unprocessed foods as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? To get your body in a in an equilibrium. You know what I'm saying? And then the water you drink as well. There's a lot to cover about this topic. I could probably speak about this for 4 hours and not even scratch the surface. But um, one man who I think you should listen to and that you should look up information about is Dr. Robert Morse, ND. N as in Nathan, D as in David. Dr. Robert Morse, ND. Out of all the information I've come across, internet and in bookstores and just in general in life about detoxification, health, and the restoration of the human body, this man has the most advanced knowledge that I have come across. And his website is morses.tv, morses.tv. And I think that's something that you should look into. Overall, our food supply is very toxic. It's the number one cause of the diseases that we have today as a society. And this stuff shouldn't be taken lightly. Have I kind of, after many years of being so strict, have I took certain liberties? Yes, you know what I'm saying. I'm human and I'm not perfect, but my first few years I was very strict, and to the point where, put it this way, I had a decent amount of allergies when I was a child. One of my allergies was cashews. Through my detoxification and the cleaning up of my diet, I was able to get rid of all my allergies. Now I can eat like 3 bags of cashews if I wanted to without any symptoms. I no longer need an inhaler. You know what I'm saying? I can run for miles and not need an albuterol, you know what I'm saying, et cetera, et cetera. So I still have work to do because I was very sickly as a boy, so I still have certain things that I need to work on. But overall, my general condition has improved very greatly, you know what I'm saying? The quickest way to sustain your youth and to sustain your body and to sustain your health and to prevent serious things and the stuff that we chalk up to genetics or old age is the stuff you put in your mouth. That's where disease starts. What you put in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us are not very conscious of this. We wasn't taught this kind of stuff. I'll leave some links in the description about certain resources that you can go to get certain types of education that will help you. When you do this, though, it will begin to alienate you from your friends and your family because you're going way against the grain. People are going to become upset with you, et cetera, et cetera. And then when you go out to restaurants and you go out to these stuff, it's not going to be the same. These places, these bars and these restaurants, they're not going to be so appealing. And food and drink are a favorite pastime of American society, and it's also a social component of it. So, if you become serious about this, your social life will change. And your friend, the relation to your friends and family may be a little bit different, but overall, it is worth it. But I still have a lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? I kind of slid back a bit into certain things. You know what I'm saying? But now I have my second wing. I'm gonna make a second, big push to do more of the deep cleansing that I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I started, between 10 to 6 years ago was my, the first 4 years was my most intense on this, you know what I'm saying? And then I ended up getting into spirituality, and I was religious for a time and all kind of stuff. But anyways, so things you should look into are trophology or food combining. That's a very big thing. And then here's the thing. There's so much to unpack about this. There's so much to unpack. How else can I say? I would just say another thing is just these drinks, like these so-called juices, like these Minute Maids and these all these apple juices and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff has a lot of fake ingredients and stuff. Pretty much most. I'll tell you a little bit secret. Many of these drinks, they dehydrate you and they release nutrients from your body. if you seriously go upon this journey, you'll be able to feel it. You won't need nobody to tell you. Also, most of the foods we eat dehydrate us. It leaches water from our body. As a rule of thumb, anytime if you're not, if you're eating something that's not fruit, like your carbs or your protein, you should try to have it with live leafy green stuff with live enzymes that can give that can hydrate you, while you're eating this food. You know what I'm saying? You definitely feel a difference once you go raw and you try to eat cooked food. Is a big difference. A lot of this is very dehydrating. It's not, you know what I'm saying? There was a point where I got so sensitive where I could eat 4 apples and be satiated for an entire day. You know what I'm saying? If I was to eat something cooked, I'd feel lethargic and would hardly be able to move, etc., etc. Now I'm less sensitive because I had to get grounded. I had to go out into the world and I had to, start doing things I had to start doing worldly things. So I had to, reel it back in and, eat a more, mainstream diet just to become rooted so I can, do the things I have to do in life. But now I'm going to go back and start becoming more raw again. Will I become 100% raw like I used to be? I'm not sure, but I need to really, you know what I'm saying? I'll be 30 this year, so I got to really, lay a stronger foundation for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I will give you some stuff that you should research. But the stuff all these frown lines and all these skin imperfections and all these conditions, many of them will clear up through proper hydration, water intake, whether that's through the food or the water you drink, and just proper combinations of the food. You know what I'm saying? And avoiding foods with a lot of complex ingredients. The simpler you eat, the better. The less stuff that comes out of a box, the better. And the refined carbs and all that, like the rices and the white rices in the pasta, that shouldn't eat too much of that. You know what I'm saying? Most of this stuff, I have a very sensitive constitution. A lot of this stuff, I can feel my breathing change as I consume some of this stuff. So I'm not a big fan of it, but I was born into this world. I was able to wean myself off it completely for some years, but life happened to me. But I'm getting back on the train, and I'll probably document my journey about how that's going. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, these are just my thoughts about this, and I'll make videos on other topics. Thank you.